All right, welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into something absolutely mind-blowing. We're looking at a megastructure so incredibly massive that it spans the distance from New York to Boston and back twice, yet most people don't even know it exists. We are talking about one of the most ambitious engineering feats in human history. It's a barrier taller than a four-story building, stretching an unfathomable 400 kilometers along the Japanese coast. It's literally redefined the geography of an entire nation.
$12 billion. That's what it took to build this staggering project. It was constructed meter by 440 separate engineering and construction teams, completely transforming the Japanese coastline. And we aren't just talking about a simple concrete fence here, you know? Every single inch of this 400-kilometer barrier was carefully surveyed, modeled, and constructed in some of the most hostile building environments on Earth. The precision was so extreme that if even one of those 440 teams dropped the ball, a gap could open in the entire defense system.
But to really grasp what this structure means, we have to talk about how it started. And that's rooted in the unthinkable tragedy of 2011, where a single village's survival blueprint actually inspired this entire 400-kilometer wall. On that horrible day, one mayor's previous decision to build a specific village wall just a bit taller ended up keeping 3,000 people alive, while everything surrounding them was completely devastated. That one surviving village gave Japan a really clear mandate: build it taller, build it stronger, and build it right now.
So, here's our roadmap for today. We'll be breaking down 1. The day the walls failed. 2. Foundations in the deep. 3. Forging the concrete fortress. 4. The smart defense system. And 5. Surviving the next big one.
Okay, kicking things off with Section 1, the day the walls failed. Because to build for the future, engineers basically had to completely deconstruct the failures of the past. You guys, the speed of the 2011 event is just terrifying to even think about. A massive, moving wall of black water totally annihilated $1.6 billion worth of breakwaters in seconds. Just look at this timeline right here. In just 3 minutes, the ocean floor ruptured and shifted 50 meters. Think about that for a second. That massive displacement sent a 40-meter tall wave tearing across the ocean, hitting the coast in barely half an hour. It wasn't just a wave, it was a total force of nature, wiping out everything in its path.
And here's the brutal truth. The old way of building seawalls was fundamentally flawed. Within a single hour, 90% of the seawalls failed. The world's largest breakwaters were literally just erased from the map. When engineers intensely studied these failures, they realized the older walls didn't just snap from the frontal impact of the water. It was actually a lot more insidious than that.
So the crucial takeaway here is that the 2011 walls didn't just break from the front. It was something called backwash scour. When all that massive volume of water retreated back out to sea, it acted like a giant vacuum. It literally sucked the sand and the foundation out from under the back of the walls, causing them to collapse backwards. That meant the new wall couldn't just be a shield facing the ocean, it had to be a comprehensively anchored system. And to solve that, builders had to start 25 meters underwater. Which brings us to Section 2. Foundations in the deep, where the real battle against the ocean is fought. Because here is a crazy fact. Most of this 400-kilometer wall is totally invisible. You might look at it from the beach and see 14 meters of concrete, but engineers ran 200 different models to figure out that the true battle is won beneath the seabed. What you see is literally just the tip of the iceberg. The vast majority of this behemoth is heavily anchored deep underground and underwater, customized kilometer by kilometer depending on if they hit dense sand, hard rock, or incredibly dangerous clay.
Building this thing in danger